I know how Stranger Things ends. Volume 2 gave us all the answers. Hawkins is falling and we're running out of time. Here are the 5 endings that evidence points to, and one of them is dropping December 31st. The bridge collapse. This is the scenario most heavily supported by the explicit plot points and dialogue from episode 5, Shock Jock. If you're looking for the ending with the most direct evidence, this is it. For 4 seasons, we believe the Upside Down was a parallel dimension, a dark mirror of our world. Volume 2 completely rewrites that understanding. When Dustin, Steve, Nancy, and Jonathan infiltrate the Upside Down version of Hawkins' lab in episode 5, Dustin discovers the surviving journals of Dr. Martin Brenner. These journals contain the definitive scientific explanation we've been waiting for. The Upside Down isn't a parallel dimension at all. It's a wormhole, an interdimensional tunnel held together by a sphere of exotic matter. This bridge connects 2 specific points: Hawkins, the Rightside Up, and the Abyss, Dimension X. The Upside Down is literally just the highway, the transit zone that Vecna and the monsters used to reach Earth. The environment looks like Hawkins because the wormhole was created, or frozen, at the exact moment of psychic contact between Eleven and the Demogorgon on November 6, 1983. It took a snapshot of the town at that precise moment. That's why there are no changes after that date. It's not evolving or alive. It's a memory made physical, a photograph turned into a dimension. The journals reveal the wormhole's weakness. That sphere of exotic matter is highly unstable. It's the only thing maintaining the structural integrity of the bridge. Dustin hypothesizes that disrupting or destroying this exotic matter would cause the entire wormhole to collapse immediately, severing the connection to the Abyss permanently. No bridge, no invasion. It's elegant, it's scientific, and it gives the non-superpowered members of the party a clear, achievable objective for the finale. So the science team, Dustin, Steve, Nancy, and Jonathan, must infiltrate the Upside Down one final time. They need to reach the epicenter at Hawkins' lab, plant some kind of payload or energy device, and destabilize that exotic matter sphere. They're literally blowing up the highway before Vecna can bring his entire army across. This is where it gets brutal. Anyone left inside the wormhole when it implodes is either annihilated or severed from reality forever. Also, the connection with the Abyss will be lost, and whoever is on the wrong side won't be able to cross it again. And there are currently 12 children trapped in Vecna's psychic prison, Camazotz, in the Abyss. Hopper and Joyce are leading the rescue mission to get them out. This creates a devastating race against time. One team, the science team, is planting the bomb and preparing to destroy the bridge. Another team, the rescue team, is trying to extract the hostages from Vecna's mind palace. If the science team detonates too early, the children die. If they wait too long, Vecna completes his invasion and Earth falls. The teams have to coordinate perfectly, and in the chaos of a final battle, perfect coordination is nearly impossible. The Will Byers containment. From the very beginning, the Duffer Brothers have been explicit about one thing. This show started with Will Byers, and it will end with Will Byers. For 4 seasons, he was the victim, the boy who needed saving. Volume 1 and 2 have completely inverted that dynamic. Let's trace Will's evolution through Season 5. In Episode 1, The Crawl, we get a recontextualized flashback to November 6, 1983, the night Will vanished. The sequence extends beyond what we saw in Season 1. We watch Vecna capture Will in the Upside Down, and we see him insert a tendril into Will's mouth, forcing a foreign fluid into his system. He infected him with flayed particles, pieces of the Mind Flayer itself. Will was Patient Zero, the first human vessel engineered to bridge the worlds. For 4 seasons, we thought Will's connection to the Upside Down was a side effect, a trauma response. Volume 1 reveals it was always intentional. Vecna broke Will Byers to see what was possible. He turned him into a spy. But in Episode 4, everything changes. When the military base is overrun by Demogorgons, Will is cornered with Mike, Robin, and Lucas. He watches his best friends face death. And something snaps. Triggered by a montage of pure emotional memories, building Castle Byers with Jonathan, meeting Mike in kindergarten, Joyce's unconditional love, Will taps into that connection Vecna forced upon him. But this time, he's not the victim. He's the master. Here's where it gets dark. Will's power comes with a cost. Unlike Elle, whose powers are hers, Will is borrowing from the Hive. He's hacking into Vecna's network, and that network has a master. The more Will uses these powers, the more he risks opening a backdoor for Vecna to possess him again. More importantly, the Hive mind is revealed to be a force of nature. It's not just Vecna. We are 3 days away from the finale. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you catch our breakdown the second the final episode ends. It's the Mind Flayer. Vecna is its current host, its human interface. But if Vecna dies, the entity doesn't die. It needs a new host, and Will is already infected. He's already compatible. Will Byers may have to step into Vecna's place as the jailer of the Abyss. He would use his sorcerer powers, his unique ability to command the Hive, to force the Demogorgons, the Mind Flayer particles, and every creature back into Dimension X. And then he would seal the door from the inside. He becomes the Eternal Warden, the Keeper of the Abyss. He stays behind to ensure the monsters never escape again. He keeps his family safe by removing himself from their lives permanently. This mirrors the Dungeons & Dragons lore of Cass the Bloody-Handed, the lieutenant who betrays Vecna. Fans theorized it would be Eddie Munson, but Eddie is dead. The real Cass is Will Byers, the boy Vecna underestimated, the first victim who becomes the final jailer. The boy who was taken in episode 1 of season 1 becomes the boy who chooses to stay behind in episode 8 of season 5. He's not kidnapped this time. He volunteers. He sacrifices his life on Earth, his future with Mike, his family, everything, to ensure they're safe. The show that started with "Will, where are you?" ends with Will saying, "I'm exactly where I need to be." The mutual destruction. The reintroduction of Kali in Volume 1, Episode 4, and her expanded role throughout Volume 2 initially seemed like fan service, a callback to the controversial Season 2 episode The Lost Sister. But Kali isn't back for nostalgia. She's back to ask the question no one else will. What if Eleven's existence is the real threat? In Episode 4, Hopper and Eleven infiltrate the deepest level of the Max Z military base, believing they'll find Vecna imprisoned. Instead, they blast open a vault and find Kaylee. Episode 5, Shock Jock, reveals the full horror of what Dr. K has been doing. The military established Project Indigo, a successor to Dr. Brenner's MKUltra experiments. They've been harvesting Kali's blood and transfusing it into pregnant women, attempting to create a new generation of psychic soldiers. They're trying to replicate the Henry Creel effect, manufacturing superpowered children they can control. But Kali's blood isn't strong enough. Her illusion powers are useful for psychological warfare, but Dr. K wants something more destructive. She wants 11. The military views the supernatural not as a threat to contain, but as a resource to exploit. When Kali is freed, she doesn't thank 11. She warns her. In a pivotal conversation in Volume 2, Kali poses a brutal ultimatum. As long as the numbered children exist, the cycle will never end. Someone will always try to weaponize them. Brenner did it. Dr. K is doing it. And when K fails, the next scientist or general or government will try again. The gates to the Upside Down wouldn't exist without 11's powers. Vecna wouldn't have been able to reach Earth if 11 hadn't opened that first breach. Every death, every tragedy, every monster, it all traces back to the existence of psychic children. Kali's cynical but logical conclusion: remove the source of the problem. Remove themselves. This ending would require 11 and Kaylee to combine their abilities, telekinesis and illusion, in a way never before attempted. As the wormhole collapses and the exotic matter sphere destabilizes, they would act as a ground for the psychic energy, absorbing the implosion into themselves. The collapse of an interdimensional bridge would release catastrophic psychic and physical energy. That energy has to go somewhere. If it disperses naturally, it could tear Hawkins apart or leave residual openings for future breaches. But if 11 and Kaylee channel it through themselves, they can contain it. By absorbing the collapse, they effectively erase the supernatural from the world. The wormhole closes permanently with no chance of ever reopening. The abyss becomes unreachable, but the cost is their lives. The Temporal Reset. If you've been paying attention to the Easter eggs and pop culture references throughout Season 5, this theory becomes impossible to ignore. Volumes 1 and 2 are absolutely loaded with temporal mechanics hints. Let's count the clues. There are constant Back to the Future references. Vecna is fixated on collecting 12 children, which multiple fans have noted mirrors the 12 hours on a clock face. And most importantly, the Upside Down is stuck specifically on November 6, 1983, not just any date, but the exact moment 11 touched the Demogorgon. The show has also been heavily referencing a wrinkle in time, particularly the concept of the Tesseract, a wrinkle in space-time that allows travel between dimensions and moments. Even Vecna's disguise to Holly Wheeler is Mr. Whatsit, a direct reference to the guide character Mrs. Whatsit from that novel. Volume 2 confirms something crucial. The wormhole doesn't just connect points in space, it connects points in space-time. Time and memory are fundamental to how the Upside Down operates. It's frozen in 1983 because that's when it was created. Max survived in Vecna's mind by hiding in memories. Will triggered his powers in Episode 4 through an emotional memory montage. Memory is the code of the Upside Down. If you can control the memory, you can control the reality. This theory suggests the only way to truly win is to never play the game. You can't just close the current gate, you have to prevent the gate from ever opening in the first place. As the Wormhole bridge collapses in the finale, the massive release of exotic matter energy might create a brief window where the fabric of space-time becomes malleable. In that moment, Eleven or Will could send their consciousness back to November 6, 1983. They would have seconds, maybe less, to warn the younger Eleven in Dr. Brenner's lab, or maybe they don't warn her at all. Maybe Eleven, in the moment of the wormhole's collapse, simply chooses differently. She pulls her hand back. The connection never happens. The gate never opens. The timeline resets from that point forward. November 6, 1983 plays out completely differently. Will Byers rides his bike home safely. Barb Holland never goes to Steve's pool party, or she does, but there's no monster to take her. The kids never have to fight the Demogorgon in Season 1. Max never moves to Hawkins to escape her abusive home in California. This is the ending the Duffer Brothers have repeatedly described as bittersweet, and now we understand why. The world is saved, the characters survive, but the cost is connection. The party would grow up safe, but they might be total strangers to one another in this new timeline. Mike and Eleven never fall in love because they never meet in desperate circumstances. Dustin and Steve never form their unlikely brotherhood because they never fought monsters together. Lucas and Max never connect. The friendships we've watched grow over 5 seasons would be erased. The redemption of Henry Creel. This final theory draws heavily from external lore that most casual fans might not know about. But the Duffer Brothers have confirmed it's essential to understanding the finale. I'm talking about Stranger Things, The First Shadow, the stage play that premiered in London and tells the origin story of Henry Creel. The First Shadow reveals something that completely recontextualizes everything we thought we knew about Vecna. Henry Creel wasn't born a monster. He wasn't born evil. He was a sensitive, artistic child in the 1950s, a boy who loved animals, drew pictures, and tried to connect with his family. He was lonely, yes. He was different, yes, but he wasn't a psychopath. What happened to Henry was a tragedy. As a child, he stumbled into a cave system near Hawkins that had a natural connection to Dimension X, the Abyss. In that cave, he encountered the Mind Flayer, an ancient entity that predates human civilization. The Mind Flayer didn't serve Henry. The Mind Flayer possessed him, corrupted him, and twisted him into Vecna. Henry Creel is not the ultimate evil. He is the first victim. Everything Vecna has done, the murders of his family, the slaughter in the lab, the invasions of Hawkins, has been the Mind Flayer puppeteering a broken boy for decades. Henry has been a prisoner in his own body since childhood. Vecna is what the Mind Flayer made him. The Duffer Brothers have explicitly confirmed that the finale will have more overlap with The First Shadow than any other episode. They're telling us that understanding Henry's origin is essential to understanding how the show ends. Throughout Volume 2, we see Max Mayfield trapped in Vecna's mind, the psychic construct called Camazotz. While there, Max doesn't just hide. She explores. She maps the landscape. She learns that Vecna's consciousness is structured like the Creel house, with memories serving as rooms and hallways. In Episode 5, Will Byers uses his external connection to the hive mind to save Max and help her wake up from her coma. But she doesn't just wake up. She brings information. She tells the group that Vecna's mind is layered. There are surface memories, the murders, the rage, the power, but deep underneath, she found the child Henry, the boy who stumbled into that cave and never came out. The finale won't be a traditional battle. It will be a rescue mission, but not the kind we've seen before. Eleven must enter the mindscape of Camazotz one final time, guided by Max's map. She's not going in to fight the monster, she's going in to save the boy. The final confrontation won't be Eleven ripping Vecna apart with telekinesis. It will be Eleven finding Henry Creel, the scared child buried in the psychic architecture, and showing him kindness, showing him he was never a monster, showing him that what happened to him wasn't his fault. When Eleven helps Henry remember who he really was, he breaks free from the Mind Flayer's control, and in that moment of clarity, Henry Creel makes a choice. He's been a puppet of the entity for 70 years. He's caused unspeakable harm, but now, for the first time since the 1950s, he's himself again. Henry turns the accumulated power of the Abyss, everything he learned, everything he became, against the Mind Flayer. He fights the entity from within its own domain. He uses the very corruption that consumed him as a weapon to destroy it. Henry Creel dies in the process, but he dies as a human, not a monster. He dies redeemed. His last words might be an apology, or gratitude, or simply relief that it's finally over. This is the most thematically resonant ending Stranger Things could have. The show has always been about trauma, empathy, and the power of connection. Eleven was abused, but found a family. Max was abused by Billy, but mourned him when he died saving her. Steve was a bully, but became a hero. This ending argues that no one is beyond saving. not even the villain. It transforms Vecna from a dimensional evil into the show's most tragic figure. It mirrors Darth Vader's redemption in Return of the Jedi, Zuko's arc in Avatar, even Gollum's role in Lord of the Rings, corrupted beings who, in their final moments, choose good. And it gives the finale an emotional weight that spectacle alone can't provide. The biggest battle isn't defeating the monster, it's saving the boy inside the monster. So there you have it, 5 scenarios for how Stranger Things could end, each supported by specific evidence from volumes 1 and 2. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on New Year's Eve for the finale breakdown. Until then, stay strange.